Actually, the seed of what I did in Galway was sown with Leitrim, because we beat Galway twice, and we had basically 300 adult players in Leitrim, and if you can win a Connacht championship with that, and when I come in to commiserate a couple of times, we did beat them, and I'd look around this dressing room and see what was there. I kind of, in my own mind, you'd be saying, geez, if these applied like the other one, anything could happen. And then obviously through my teaching in St. Nathan's and getting hammered by Jarlath's and the great 94 team, I was aware of the Pádraig Joyces and the Derek Savages. Well, he went to Pats, but Divleys and all those. So I was privileged, if you like, to have those young lads coming in with experienced players who had only won one Connacht championship in 11 years, and the Sean Og, the Pears, the Mangyans, the Kevins, the Jazz, all of those people were incredible footballers, and the chemistry between the two groups gelled automatically. So I didn't have much to do. I used to hear Kevin saying to Mikey Donlan, these fellas, ye do the running and I'll organise things around here, you know. So and it was unbelievable. If you like, the cocktail of the youngsters coming in and the players that were there. And I suppose the motto, I know Pádraig Joyce said when he was appointed manager, I want to win everything the first year in the All-Ireland. I didn't take that view at all. I kind of said it within the dressing room. I knew when we were coming out of Castlebar in 24th of May 1998 that we had a fair chance, but we says we'll try and have this All-Ireland won before anyone realises it, you know.
So when you're talking about, you know, beating them with Leitrim, and then I read an interview with you not so long ago when you were talking about the importance of sports psychology and the influence of the Lions Tour in 1997. Can you explain how you tried to bring that to the Galway group?
Yeah, well, obviously I managed my own 89 to the All-Ireland, and the big thing I felt at the time, Connacht football was in the doldrums. I mean, the chance, and Ulster football as well, ironically, it was always between the Dublin and the Kerrys for the most part, and Meath came in there a bit as well, and Cork obviously were there, but Connacht and Ulster, if you met in a semi-final, there was no backdoor that time, there was a chance of getting to a final, and in 89 we decided that we'd throw the kitchen sink at it, because the belief systems I felt in Connacht needed a boost. We got a guy who knew nothing about football but knew about psychology, Bill Cogan, Kevin. So we had him in Mayo, I had him in Leitrim, and I had him in Galway. And effectively it was to change the narrative. Like when I started managing way back, if you won a Connacht championship, your job was safe for the following year. You know, and I felt the quality of players when I came into Galway were such that they should be aiming higher. They had huge respect for Mayo, what Mayo had done in 96 and 97. So I says, look at lads, the only way you're going to get any glory is to bring the cup home, and they duly did.
What changed, Kevin, when John came in 98? We've all probably watched a year till Sunday and seen some of the fairly barbaric training that you went through, but was it a mentality kind of thing that changed in 98, or what was it exactly?
Look, I suppose it was, I have to say, organisation number one. It was this man knew what he was doing 9 months later. I remember I hadn't played the year before, and I just joined you, John, at the time, if we had a chat, and you had said to me, give another go, and I said I won't, and anyway, I was ready to give it in, and in fairness to you, convinced me otherwise. But I remember I didn't play that year with Galway, I had a few injuries, and I ended up managing my club, and that summer actually I had one of my best summer club games. You were playing at them, and I went really, really well in the club, and this man brought me in, we decided to go in, and I remember the Connacht team were playing the Railway Cup at the time, and they'd asked me to go and play midfield, whatever it was, and he says to me, stay where we are, Kevin, if you don't mind, and we'll explode you in May in Castlebar. And that was back in November. So that was the kind of mindset that this man had. But the organisation skills just completely turned around. You mentioned about Bill Cogan, the dietary, everything, his backroom team. It was just a completely turned around completely. And I suppose preparation breeds confidence, and I suppose confidence breeds success. So this man had the preparation first and the confidence built, and again we were looking after John. Probably the young fellas came through, a few older fellas stayed on, and the mix was good.
The quality that I had was, you know, you asked me what was the most quality team that I managed, it was the Galway team, so that had to be a part of it. It's good when you have all the tools in the toolbox, you know.
Can you just talk to me, Kevin, from a player's perspective? Before, I think it was before the All-Ireland final in '98, was it? The lights in the room were darkened, and you were watching Living with the Lions, I believe, clips from that documentary. And then all of a sudden, I think Keith Wood landed into the top of the room. Yeah. What was that like from a player's point of view? And when did you even notice he was there? And could you believe he was there?
I suppose it was more of a shock than anything else. Maybe when we saw him coming through, we realised we'd made part of the big time. We weren't used to have even crowds coming to Galway games at the time. I think when John came in, like even the All-Ireland semi-final in '95, the support was very poor at the time. I think we had only 2,500 people in Croke Park. And I suppose that needs to be built up as well. We'd already lost maybe 2 times to Leitrim. And again, that Leitrim team were well prepared, and they were actually quite a good team. I think even '95, when we won Connacht, we were lucky to beat Leitrim by a point, a late point. But again, I suppose when the likes of that, it just showed you that this man had gone to ahead of his time. It was about bringing whatever he needed to instill confidence in us. But it was a bit of a shock to see him walking through the door. But I suppose it kind of sent that message out that it was professional. So
yeah, I think the story behind it really was that we were going away on a weekend in early May. And I was sitting down with Bill Cogan actually, and says, I just happened to turn on the telly and I was watching that Lions thing, and Keith Wood played a big part in it, and we basically used a lot of that tape, because it showed the preparation. They were in South Africa and all of that, and the way that they raised the standards and all that kind of thing. So that was done in May. So basically, when we got before the All-Ireland, I said, how can we link, we have been on a journey here, but the big one is to come in the final, and how can we link the two? So I says, maybe just if I could get Keith Wood, because he had a big part in that. So I hadn't a clue how I'd get a hold of him. So I tried to get him before the semi-final, and I rang I was looking numbers. That time there was phone books, but I couldn't get any number. So I rang the local Garda station. I knew he was from Killaloo or Ballina, Killaloo or whatever. And I said, look, anyway, and I said, will you give me the number? The guard told me that his mother was living down the street, and he said, I'll give you the I asked him for the number. He says she might get frightened if she got a call from somebody she didn't know. So I says, okay, will you tell her what I'm looking for, that I want to talk to Keith? So within 10 minutes I had a call from Keith in London. He was playing with Harlequins, I think, at the time, and he just couldn't come before the semi-final, which was good as it turned out. But he says, look, if you get to the final, I'll do it for you. So what these lads didn't know, I says, look, we better create a bit of a surprise here, like. So we kind of were in talking at the team meeting and going over where we started. We had shots with Pat Comer. He had shots of us meeting back in May, and while that was happening, they were going on chatting about it. I slipped out, and Keith was to take a flight that morning. He was to be outside the hotel at a certain time. What he didn't realise is that he got a suspected broken jaw the day before for Harlequins. But in fairness to him, the club wanted him to go to get it checked out. He had given a commitment, and we turned on the lights, and the boys. But he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant.
Do you have any memory, Kevin, of anything that he might have said in that game? Do you have any memory of anything that Keith might have said that day, or did anything resonate with you?
Absolutely nothing. I actually don't remember it at all. But I know. Look,
some people maybe didn't need it, but some did as well. Actually, one of the things he said, I remember one of the things he said is that at the time, Ireland used to be great in the first 50 minutes of some matches, but they'd run out of steam, and they'd be beating the heads of each other in the dressing room. And what he was emphasised, the need for calmness in the dressing room, and not as he said, he put it nicely. He says not to get over aroused in the dressing room before the game.
For more exclusive content, go to patreon.com/OurGame.